So today on this Tech Tip Tuesday, we're going to talk about adding aquatic plants to the landscape and creating a whole different type of interest. So Jode, I want you to give your honest opinion, more importantly, a woman's opinion, on aquatic plants in the landscape.
Aquatic plants are perfect for the landscape because they take no care. That's the best part. You don't have to water them. Generally, you don't have to deadhead them. I've already fertilized them, slow release, so that's a win-win. There's really no work to them. They're just going to keep flourishing and flowering. Perfect. Add when we're out here watering, we'll add a little bit of water to the pot. That's about it.
So here we have a ceramic pot that when Jody and I were at a store somewhere, we saw these glazed ceramic pots and we're like, oh, that's pretty cool. It had a hole in the bottom of there, but we're like, no problem. We can definitely plug that hole up enough to hold water and put some aquatic plants in so we can do something different than the normal annuals that we plant throughout our beds. The reason we grabbed this pot is we like the colors of it and it kind of blended well with the colors of our house. So we thought, why not? Let's give it a shot. And today I'm going to show you what kind of aquatic plants that I put in it. This particular situation right here, I have full sun. Where I put another one over here where I'm going to show you, that's all shade. So we're going to be doing two different types of plantings. And I got my water ready so I can show you how much water I put in and fill it up. Sounds like common sense, but depending on the size of the aquatic plants you're going to put in there, it's kind of important to see. So down in here, right in the center, you see that little black spot? That actually is the hole that is meant to drain. Now, if you're doing annuals or something, you definitely want it to drain out so they don't rot. Aquatic plants, we want that water to stay in there. So I just put some silicone there. How easy is that? If it ever fails, you just put a little bit more silicone on there, let it dry. These pots we've had for about 6 years, still going strong. In the winter, I empty them out, flip them upside down, and just leave them so nothing happens to them. So right now I'm going to take this jug of water and I'm going to pour it into this pot about the height that I think I want. Then I'm going to grab my aquatic plants and plant this up. So right now, some of the plants that I have chosen is, this is actually a taro, and I like the leaves because it's got a different vein in there, plus it's got black and green, so it's just a little bit different texture. What I want to do is pair it with this chameleon plant, and I'm just going by textures that Jody and I like at the house, and it kind of goes well with our pot. So between these two right here and a few water hyacinth, which is right down here, that most people are familiar with, they get that bluish purple flower. And being in the full sun, it's not only going to help shade our water so we don't get algae in this pot, but it's also going to give us another texture of blue flower. So one of the things that we're going to do is, because of this pot is a certain size, we want to be able to make sure that our total pot is submerged. So I'm just going to kind of dry fit this in here to make sure. I got a couple of rocks over there if I need, but right there, that's pretty well perfect because now the pot is hidden in the water. I can sink my next one in there. Now these are two 1-gallon pots for aquatic plants. Now what I'm going to do is just take 2 hyacinth and put them on either side. Before I do that though, I have a granular slow release fertilizer that I'm just going to put a scoop in each pot. Now, for those of you that don't know what slow release means, it's exactly that. It's going to just release slowly. This hard coating in this fertilizer will actually break down and start to release the nutrients that that plant needs. In a pond, you don't necessarily need that because you have fish waste, and that actually is your fertilization. So now I'm just going to put a hyacinth on either side. And look how simple that is. So now that we have all of this in there, all I have to do is when I'm watering the annuals, look in the pot every once in a while, but I can tell you from experience, it's probably about every 3 weeks we put a little bit of water in there. It's really not that bad and super easy maintenance. And this is going to add a whole different texture to your landscape. And this is our completed sun pot. In the sun location next, we are going to do a shaded area. So in this particular pot, because I have more shade, I'm going to go with something more like a corkscrew rush that really it's going to get enough filtered light to grow. No flowers or anything to worry about, because if this was a flowering plant, it's just not going to grow in the shade. So I got 2 bricks that I'm putting in the bottom of this so I can elevate both of these, because I want to bring them up just a little bit. And then I'm going to take and put this dwarf ogon in there, which it's got a little bit of different texture to it. I'm going to go like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and put the fertilizer in here also. Now, more commonly you would have pots that have a little bit more soil in them. The way these came to us, they really didn't. But what I want to do is put some water lettuce. Now, lettuce doesn't flower and it's good in the shade, and it's got this cool leaf that's got like these little striations in it, and it's pretty thick. So what I'm going to do is put those around in there, and believe it or not, in just like a couple of short weeks, this whole thing will be covered and you won't even see those pots. All right, so many years ago, Aquascape actually used to sell these blue glazed pots. We have another one that's really big up front that we put water lettuce in, but down here at the house, we actually like to put water lilies in there, because then that way, all we'll have is nothing but pads and flowers that we can look down off our porch at. It just gives you a different element. We're gonna have 2 different color water lilies in here, and I like to mix the 2 because it just gives it a whole different look. So right now all I'm going to do is just take this tag off on this one. This is only a 4-inch water lily, and because these are going to be in this pot, we're not going to take them out of the pot because it's going to be easier for us to winter these after the fact. So basically what we're going to do first is, because these are submerged down, I want to just take and dump a fair amount of fertilizer in each one, because we really want these to take off and grow. And it is slow release. There's plenty of soil and stuff on there, so I know I'm not putting too much fertilizer on there. I'm just going to snap this hanger off, and then I'm just going to slowly drop this in. Now, a lot of times people are wondering, well, that water lily is not big enough because the pads are mostly underneath the water. In about a week's time, they'll stretch right up and be on the surface. You'd be surprised on how quick that happens. So now I'm going to drop another one down in there. And now not only do we have 2 different flower colors, but we're going to have 2 different pad textures, which is kind of cool. Years ago, we used to do marginals and stuff in here. And this is actually water celery, one of Jody's favorite things. Right, Jody?
No.
This is one of those plants that keeps giving. This was years ago. We haven't planted water celery, I bet you, in 5-6 years, and yet it keeps seeding itself. I think it's kind of cool because it's got a different texture than the astilbe, but I agree with her. It does get out of hand, and it's kind of a pain to pull out and actually get rid of. So this is our water lily pot. If you wanted to, you could put some hyacinth or something higher in elevation here, but for us, we want it to be all about the water lily. I'm going to show you one more pot today that we've already planted, and I'll just give you an idea on how we did it and why we did it. So this blue glaze pot that we have here, I actually left the holes in the bottom of this. And what I did is I took the marginal area of our pond, moved a little bit of gravel around because I got this shallow area where this mint grows, and I actually left the holes in it so it would actually wick the water up into the soil. And then I got water canna, we got some, let's see what else I got. I got hardy cannas, I got regular cannas, I got some taro, and then I got some variegated rush. So this is going to be a really cool pot. Down in there you can see I put some more of that slow release fertilizer because that way it's virtually no care. This pot gets really big during the summer months, and it's just starting now to take hold. We're starting to get some heat, and that's going to help. But I'll show you a picture of the pot from last year, and I'll let you determine whether you want to have aquatic plants in your landscape or not. So that is another Tech Tip Tuesday. I hope this information has been helpful to you. If you like this sort of thing, tune in every Tuesday. We always have something different. If there's something you want us to talk about, please leave it in the comments. Please tell your friends, tell everybody, like, subscribe, do whatever you got to do to show us some love. We really appreciate it. As always, enjoy your families.